Habaragani.
Imani.
Habaragani.
Imani.
Habaragani.
Imani.
Tonight we celebrate the principle of Imani, or faith. I welcome you to the final evening of Kwanzaa 2020. Tonight, Sister Terry Taamdi will read the Tamshi La Tambiko, and we hope that at home you will recite it with her. I have the privilege and the honor of singing the Black National Anthem, and I hope you will sing it with me at home as well. I'll be lighting the Mishuma Saba in just a little while, and then we will read the Tamshi Tutuanana, and we hope that you will read it with us as well. So Habaragani.
Imani.
And we welcome Sister Terry Taamdi.
Habarigani.
Imani.
Habarigani.
Imani.
Habarigani. As an elder in our community, I am honored to have the privilege of reading our Tamshi La Tambiko, our libation statement. It is traditional in our African culture to do that as a way of inviting the presence of our ancestors to join us, to be with us. And these ancestors are both historical and folks from our families and our communities who have lighted the way for us, who have given us models that we want to emulate. So we call forth their presence to be with us. Our fathers and mothers came here, lived, loved, struggled, and built here. At this place, their love and labor rose like the sun and gave strength and meaning to the day. For them then who gave so much, we give in return. On this same soil, we will sow our seeds and build and move in unity and strength. Here too, we will continue their struggle for liberation and a higher level of human life. May our eyes be the eagle, our strength be the elephant, and the boldness of our life be like the lion. And may we remember and honor our ancestors and the legacy they left for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow. For our people everywhere then, for Shaka, Samari, Nzinga, and all the others known and unknown who defended our ancestral land, history, and humanity from alien invaders. Ashe.
Ashe.
For Garvey, Muhammad, Malcolm, King, Harriet, Fanny, Sojourner, Bethune, and Nat Turner, and all the others who dare to defend, define, and develop our interests as a people. Ashe.
Ashe.
For our children and the fuller and freer lives they will live because we struggle. Ashe.
Ashe.
For Kawaida and the Nguzu Saba, the new system of views and values. Ashe.
Ashe.
For the new world we struggle to build. Ashe.
Ashe.
And for the continuing struggle to which we will inevitably rescue and reconstruct our history and humanity in our own image and according to our own needs. Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
This song by Duke Ellington and Juan Tizol is called Caravan, and it's about a journey. Let's imagine it as our journey moving forward. And stars above that shine so bright, the memory of that daylight within our upon my shoulder hands, across And so for the final night of Kwanzaa 2020, we light the Mishumo Saba, lighting the first candle for our people. Representing umoja, unity. And then we light the second candle, kujichagulia, self-determination. And then we light the third candle, ujima, collective work and responsibility. And the candle for ujama, cooperative economics. And then purpose, niya. And then kuumba, creativity. And then finally for tonight, Imani, faith.
Habarigani Imani, faith, to believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Jumbo African family, I am Brother Mark Haru, and I've been asked to speak briefly about the seventh principle of the Nguzo Saba as we bring our Kwanzaa 2020 programs to a close. Our Imani message is usually delivered by our good brother, the Right Reverend Sheldon R. Skip Shipman. And it's a fact that no one, and I mean no one, can deliver an Imani message like our good brother, Reverend Dr. Shipman. But nevertheless, in his absence, I've been given this assignment, so we will proceed and hopefully we can deliver the message. Our esteemed ancestor, Mary McLeod Bethune, said, "Faith is the first factor in a life devoted to service. Without it, nothing is possible. With it, nothing is impossible." And of course, African people of enormous faith believe that the creation itself destroyed the impossible. Those of us who are here as a result of the world's largest forced migration, descendants of those Africans who survived the horrific Middle Passage to America, who survived the first and second cycles of white supremacy in this land, chattel slavery and American apartheid, are indebted to the faith of our ancestors and their extraordinary determination to live. It had to be excruciating to be thrown into horrific and barbaric conditions in the bottom of these slave boats like the good ship Jesus, the young St. Paul, the John the Baptist, and to see so many of our people perishing as they were chained beside us. The mortality rate averaged about 33% in many instances, and often it was very, very much higher. In 2020, well, let me finish that point though. So those of us who are here as a result of African people surviving those horrific conditions must understand that only the strong survived. Only the strong survived. That means that we have within us the genes of the strongest people that ever walked the planet, in my opinion, because no people have been subjected to such horrific conditions and survived and continue to struggle for liberation. In 2020, as will be the case in the coming months of 2021, our faith has been and will be tested by a continuing pandemic exploiting our comorbidities. Having already left over 50,000 African Americans dead, the ravages of the COVID economy and its massive unemployment, underemployment, the coming evictions and homelessness of millions of people, on top of creeping gentrification, the scourge of homicides, what I call the tyranny of stray bullets, killing so many of our young people, including our babies, sometimes asleep in their beds, or sometimes a teenager sitting in front of a computer or a television playing video games when a bullet comes through a window. The PTSD this induces, plus the daily stress of white supremacy increasing our allostatic load, which results in shortened lifetimes when you compare our life expectancy compared to other groups, particularly Black males in this country, the United States. Our faith has been and will be tested extremely in 2021. What does Imani, faith, the seventh principle of the Nguzo Saba, what Dr. Karenga calls the glue which holds the entire Nguzo Saba together? During Kwanzaa, of course, we celebrate each principle during one of the 7 nights. But for us, we understand that these principles are inextricably linked. They should be seen as a system, just like the vital organs or the systems of the body. Certainly the circulatory system can't survive on its own. It has to be connected to the digestive system, to the muscular system, to the central nervous system. This is how we should see the Nguzo Saba. But tonight's focus is on Imani, faith. So we turn to some words from Dr. Maulana Karenga on this subject of faith, the founder of Kwanzaa, Dr. Maulana Karenga. In 2009, and it's interesting how many of his words from years ago are applicable to the conditions that we face today. So this is what he said in 2009 on the subject of Imani. In our world and time when words of hope and change evaporate into business as usual, when peace is postponed for war, social programs put on hold, bankers bailed out, and the poor erased from the agenda, Imani faith offers a shield against despair, cynicism, and paralyzing disappointment. Faith calls us to believe in the good we seek to create, to work for it, and to live it in our daily lives. Indeed, only in this way will we be able to repair and renew ourselves in the process and practice of repairing, rebuilding, and renewing the world. In the spirit of the steadfast faith of our ancestors, let us meditate on and give ever deeper meaning in actual practice to this Kwanzaa wish of good and a prayerful request for our ancestors, May we speak truth, do justice everywhere. May we always evaluate rightfully and not act in disregard of the sacred and the people. May we enter praise and leave loved everywhere we go. May our speech be wholesome and without blame and injury to others. May we reject evil and embrace joy. May we live a lifetime of peace, and may we pass in peace, having done ma'at and brought good to the world. This theme of good is something that Dr. Karenga has been constantly focused on for the past 12 years at least, and he really focuses on it quite often, when he's talking particularly about Imani or faith. His words from 2010. Imani faith is the seventh principle of the Nguzo Saba, and the text tells us that this principle calls us to believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. This principle teaches us to have a deep-rooted, relentless, and resilient faith in our people, in their capacity for good, in our foreparents and our current ones, and the good they've done, do, and want for us, in our teachers who teach us towards the good and aid us in becoming self-conscious agents of our own life and liberation, servants of the people, residents and responsible ones of and for the world. And the principle Imani teaches us to believe in the righteousness and victory of our struggle to bring increase and sustain good in the world, and our capacity as people to remain an informed, active, and powerful presence for good in the world. From 2013. The principle of Imani faith teaches us to believe in the good, to raise it up, to praise it, and pursue it everywhere. It teaches us to believe in our capacity, commitment, and struggle as a people to be good, to do good, sustain good in the world. And it teaches us a faith founded in the history, hope, and hard struggles of our people. A faith that dares to believe that through hard work, long struggle, and a whole lot of love and understanding, we can actually be ourselves and free ourselves with other progressive and struggling peoples to bring into being a new hope, history, and a world for humankind. Let us go forth then, reaffirmed in the urgency and accuracy of our ancestors' description of our duty this season and at all times and in all places. And to this, and it is this, to know our past and honor it, to engage our present and improve it, to imagine a whole new future and forge it in the most ethical and effective and expansive ways. Ethics, the concept of ethics, which originated in Nile Valley civilizations and was most personified by the teaching and practice of the virtues of Ma'at, truth, justice, harmony, propriety, reciprocity, balance, and order. These are the type of ethics that we need to practice, particularly in our community, among ourselves, to be an example, for our children and for others who are watching us. 2014. The principle of Imani faith teaches us to embrace the beautiful and unbreakable faith of our forefathers and foremothers who believed in the good and its eventual triumph, and who linked their faith to hard work, their hope to righteous struggle, and their prayers to transformative practice. It is a faith founded and forged in millennia of righteous and relentless struggle, and tested and tempered in times of increased oppression, seeming hopelessness, and delayed victories and setbacks that would have defeated those less steadfast and determined. But this faith shelters no illusions and knows from insight and experience that practice proves and makes possible everything, and that only righteous and relentless struggle will withdraw the map of human history that leads us to a hard-won world of kindness and caring, mutual respect, justice, peace, well-being, security, freedom, and rightful flourishing. And thus, it is on us to hold our ground, to build on and expand our gains, and continue to push the battle lines and lives of our people ever forward. Continuing struggle. There's no substitute for continuing struggle. We simply, cannot afford to be anything less than relentless in our push for liberation and empowerment and a higher level of human life for African people. 2015. In a world where faith is funded, religion is racialized and used to indict and discredit whole peoples and their faith, and God is given the blasphemous and sacrilegious role of co-signing oppression, land and resource robbery, and claims of racial and religious supremacy, Imani faith teaches us to hold tightly and firmly to the faith of our ancestors, who taught us to respect each person, people, and culture as unique and equally valid and valuable, and a valuable way of being human in the world. It teaches us to audaciously reaffirm our faith in our fundamental and cherished values, and in the capacity of humans for good in spite of the races, class, and sexes, sickness and savagery of some, and the chaos and confusion around us. Indeed, Imani teaches us that a fundamental way of worship is righteous practice, constantly struggling against evil, injustice, and unfreedom in a world, and always praising and doing and pursuing the good. This reminds me, when he talks about struggling against evil, very often we do compromise. We hear our people often, particularly during political seasons, talking about voting for the lesser of two evils. And this reminds me of when I was a student in Atlanta, and I heard a sermon by the Right Reverend Ralph David Abernathy, who was the pastor of the Hunter Street Baptist Church, just a few blocks from, where I was a student. The title of the sermon was from a scripture that said, "Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to my people." And I think about this when I hear people talking about greater evils and lesser evils. The scripture doesn't say that a lesser evil exalts a nation. A lesser evil, no evil can exalt a nation. Only righteousness can exalt a nation. We've got to stop compromising our ethics and stand on truth, justice, and righteousness. What the consistency of the words that I read from Dr. Karinga say to us is that good will conquer evil, but it requires that we become paragons of positive action, what Dr. Karinga calls self-conscious agents of our own liberation, building an active solidarity with each other to survive, solve our problems, thus moving closer to liberation and a higher level of human life. With this faith, we can once again walk the earth as free, proud, productive, prosperous, and powerful people. That's our Imani message for 2020. Let's carry Kwanzaa and the Nguzo Saba forward and practice these principles and these values, which are life enhancing, life sustaining, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Indeed, we must do this in order for our people to achieve liberation and move closer to a higher level of human life. I thank you for listening to these words. Asante Sana, Ashe.
everyone doing tonight? Oh, you know what? COVID did not stop Mugrio from coming to tell stories tonight. You know why? Because it is a tradition in Kwanzaa Charlotte. Kwanzaa Charlotte always have Mugriat. So, let me see. What story will I share with you today? Oh, let me see. Oh, I have lots of story in my magical bag. But I'm not sure which story I want to tell. Oh, no, I'm not going to tell that story. Oh, no, not that story. Oh, I know what story I have to tell tonight. It's a story to reflect Imani. You see, Imani tells us that we must have faith in the Creator God. Imani tells us that we must have faith in our family and our community. You see, that is the African way. And Mutgri always tells stories the African way. So, oh, I know. Once upon a time, an anthropologist came across a village in South Africa. And you know what anthropologists do. They like to study Africa, study our legacy, study our history, our tools, our people, especially our rich land. And so this anthropologist came across this land, this village in South Africa. And to his amazement, he saw all of these children. And the children, guess what? They were smiling. They were having such a jolly, jolly good time. Every child in the village was smiling. Every child in the village was happy. So the anthropologists have never seen anything like that before. So he said, you know what? I want to study this village. And so he approached the village. He approached the elders and he said, I want to learn more about your village. And so the elders of the village welcomed him. And so the anthropologists know that anytime you come to a village in Africa, you have to bring a gift. But he only had one gift basket. And in that gift basket was fruits. Oh, he had some oranges, some apples, some peaches, some bananas, and plum. Yum, 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 yum. Can you say yum, 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 yum? I can't hear you. Say it at home. Very good. And so he said, you know, I am going to have the children play a little game. It will be a racing game. I'm going to put this basket of fruit by the bamboo tree, and I'm going to have all the children come, and I want them to race really hard. And the first child who reaches the tree, guess what? They get to have the fruit basket all to themselves. And so he called the children, come. And so the children came. And he told the children, you know what? I only brought one basket of fruit. And I put it over there by the bamboo tree. And you know, we are going to play a little game. And the little game, I want you to race. I want you to run really hot. And the first child who reached the bamboo tree, guess what? You get to have all the oranges, all the apples, peaches and pears, and bananas and plums, yum, 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 all to yourself. So he said, come. But the children of the village stopped. They paused. Instead, they got into a circle and they started whispering and singing a song. And then the anthropologist was like, what's happening? They're not racing yet. So he said, you know what? I must count 1, 2, 3, and that will get them started. So he said, children, come. I'm going to count to 3. And when I count to 3, I want you to run really hard. And so he counted to 3. Let me put this right here. And so he counted to 3. He said, 1, 2, 3. But to his amazement, guess what? The children did not run. Instead, they locked arm in arm and they walked together to the bamboo tree. Together. They sat down in a circle by the bamboo tree together, and the eldest child took the basket of fruit and began to share it with every child. And so the anthropologist was like, run against one another. And so the other child spoke. The other child said, it is better for all of us to be happy than for one of us to be happy. You see, that is, in our culture, we call Ubuntu. Unity, oneness. And unity and oneness is rooted in faith. Faith in family. Faith in community. Faith in loving one another. You see, Imani tells us that in order for us to have unity, to work together, to build together, that we must be grounded in faith in order to sustain the unity. And that's the way that story was said. Ashe, Ashe.
Sometimes there are lessons to learn. This year has taught us that it's about people. For us, people united. But people make the world go round. Trash man didn't get my trash today. Oh, why? Because they want your head. Buses on strike gonna raise the fare so they can help pollute the air. But that's what makes the world go round. Be up and down, shake, move on, go underground, young man. People make window on every shade. They still blame it on Obama. But I see big men sitting in their easy chairs. That's the cause of our lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughter. out of the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadowed beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Say.
As we close this last evening of Kwanzaa 2020, let us say our farewell statement together, the Tamshi La Tutuanana. And at the end of the statement, as is our tradition, we will say Harambe 7 times. And on the last time, let's hold it as long as we can, even at home, and say it as loud as we can so all of Charlotte can hear us. Strive for discipline, dedication, and achievement in all you do. Dare struggle and sacrifice and gain the strength that comes from this. Build where you are and dare leave a legacy that will last as long as the sun shines and the water flows. Practice daily Umoja, Kujichagulia, Ujima, Ujama, Nia, Kuumba, and Imani. And may the wisdom of the ancestors always walk with us. May the year's end meet us laughing and stronger. May our children honor us by following our example in love and in struggle. And at the end of next year, may we sit again together in larger numbers with greater achievement and closer to liberation and a higher level of human life. And if we could say together, Harambe, 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 Harambe.